Once, not so very long ago, in the kingdom of angels in the village of Hollinswood, there lived a young lad, a minstrel by trade. A happy fellow, he spent most of his time singing and playing for the entertainment of the villagers. Now this minstrel, though extremely poor, was very, very happy, for he had many good friends in the village. How much he now wished that he were a gallant knight, worthy of a fair maiden's devotion, with a fierce steed upon which to carry her away.
If I were a knight on a gallant mare, I would carry you away. If I were a king with a castle fair, I would take you there today. Carry you away, carry you away. What would we do? We would leave here, go far away. Where would we go? Somewhere we could be free and together forever and ever and ever. If I were a knight, if I were a knight.
He stepped off the path and walked down the hillside towards the welcome sound. There, on the other side of a grove of trees, were the children he had heard. When they saw him, they ran to him and formed a circle around him. Laughing, dancing, they begged him to sing them a song, for they recognized right away that he was a minstrel. Why else would he be carrying a lute? Children, he thought. How could anyone be sad around children? So he sang them a children's song.
Once upon a fairy tale in an out far distant land lived a pixie called Miss Tinkertot that had some magic sand. With her stands a hero, he is handsome, brave and true, but as bold as anyone can be with a name like Peter Pooh.
An old man was limping painfully and slowly down the road ahead of him, probably traveling to the city from whence the minstrel had just come. Now, there were many old men in Hollinswood, happy, smiling old men who loved their simple life in the village. But this old man was different, for he walked haltingly, without a smile, and with downcast eyes that only saw the ground before him. But what was most odd was the old man's cane. It was a banged and misshapen old lute. Like that old man, it had surely seen better times. Spurning the minstrel's offer to help, the old man passed by, and the minstrel couldn't help but wonder what that old man was thinking and where he would be tomorrow.
Old man looking at worn and tattered burlap sack, eyes not seeing the way they used to do. Time has slipped away, today's tomorrow's yesterday. Old man, look again, there's nothing there for you. Old man, can't you see? Old man, can't you hear the children playing? Old man, looking.
Soon, the twinkling stars began to fade and disappear, and the sky began to lighten. But still he walked on, because he knew that every step brought him closer to his home and closer to the one he hoped was patiently waiting for him. But what if she weren't waiting, he thought with alarm, and his thoughts wandered back to a sad young couple he'd met in the city. They seemed to have time for everything but each other. They didn't realize how precious love is, and how much their constant bickering was hurting their little children.
'Cause little faces have big ears, little hearts can hurt for years. Big bright eyes hold back the tears. Little faces have big ears. Little faces have big ears.
I love you, Mommy. I love you, Daddy.
The lake is so pretty, he thought. In the moonlight, he could see the ripples made by a swan swimming in the water. It was so peaceful as he sat listening to the animals around him. Then he heard another sound. At first, he couldn't quite make out what it was. It seemed to be coming from the other side of the lake. It almost sounded like someone crying. He got up and started walking toward the sound. And as he got closer, he could see that it was a girl crying. In fact, it was his girl. He didn't know what to do. She hadn't seen him yet. He wanted to cry out to her, but he couldn't. Then suddenly, she turned and saw him. She couldn't believe her eyes. She ran to him and embraced him and held him as tightly as she could. And she cried even harder. "Silly minstrel, you don't have to be a knight or a nobleman. She loves you as you are. A minstrel, her minstrel. And after all your wondering and searching, you finally have realized that love is the most precious gift of all. And now at last, you are together.
Just the two of us, living on a minstrel's wage. Just the two of us, loving, living, laughing, giving. It will be this way forever. Love is all